Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing this distinguished panel here. I, for one, am for immigration reform. I think we should embrace immigrants as assets, people who want to come and find the American dream. If you want to work and you come to our country, I think we can find a place for you. That being said, I'm worried that the bill before us won't pass. May pass a Senate, may not pass a House. I want to be constructive in making the bill strong enough that conservatives, myself included, conservative Republicans in the House will vote for this because I think immigration reform is something we should do. In this bill, I'm worried, though, and this is similar to what Senator Johnson said, that it says, well, you have to have a plan to build a fence, but you don't have to build a fence. And if you don't have a plan to build the fence, then you get a commission. I don't know what happens if the commission doesn't do anything. That's the story of Washington around here. To me, it's a little bit like Obamacare, and I hate to bring that up, but 1,800 references to the secretary shall at a later date decide things. We don't write bills around here. We should write the bill. We should write the plan. We should do these things to secure the border, whether it be fence, entry, exit. We should write it, not delegate it, because what's going to happen in 5 years if they don't do their job, it may not even be them, it may be somebody else who doesn't do their job in 5 years, and the border's not secure, we will be blamed for the next 10 million people who come here illegally. The work visa program has to work. We have to make it work. That's where the illegal immigration is coming from, because people aren't getting their work visas. With national security, I sent a letter earlier this week, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, Senator Carper, but in that letter I asked that we mark this up. National security is a big part of immigration, and it's a separate part, and we should go through detail after detail, but then vote on amendments in our committee to add to the immigration bill. And some say, oh, you're doing this just to kill the bill or slow it down. No, I want the bill to be better so we can pass it. I think the stronger this bill is, the better chance we have of passing it. My goal is to pass the bill. I'm concerned about two things in particular, refugees and student visas. Student visas, as was mentioned, had to do with some of the 9/11 hijackers. Right after 9/11, we passed a program called NSEERS, National Security Entry-Exit Registration Program. And we had it for about 10 years. It's been defunded now and no longer exists. We looked at 25 countries more carefully, and we were absolute about it, and thousands of people were sent home who weren't in school, who weren't doing the right thing, who weren't obeying the rules we had set up. I'm disturbed, really, that the FBI investigated this young man, this Sarnoff boy, and then they didn't know he was leaving the country. He was on a CIA list. We said all the billions and trillions we spent on Homeland Security was so the FBI would talk to the CIA. And I'm concerned that, I don't know if they were talking, but for some reason it doesn't appear as if we knew he was leaving the country. Once he left to Chechnya, he needed another interview. And I don't fault him for interviewing him, maybe not catching him the first time, but how many, I would like someone to come here and tell us, how many people did Russia refer to us? Was it 50,000 people that they wanted us to look at, or was it 10? If it was 10, we should have spent a lot of time with those 10. And we should have been monitoring them just because Russia thought they were a problem on them leaving. I'd do it with a judge's warrant because I believe in the due process, but I still would do it. So I would have hearings, and my purpose of this is to ask specifically to Senator Carper and Senator Coburn to consider having hearings where we actually physically take control of a part of the bill and do national security hearings, have amendments, not to defeat the bill, but to make it stronger, to look at how many refugees we can process. If we're bringing in 200,000 refugees, maybe we need to bring in 100,000 or 50,000. Maybe the number has to be smaller so we can manage it. In my town in Bowling Green, 2 refugees came in. Their fingerprints were on an IED. They immediately started buying Stinger missiles. Fortunately, it was from the FBI, and we caught them. But they got into the country even though their fingerprint was on a bomb. I think too many people coming in too quickly without enough review, and that we need to target the review to the countries that seem to have hotbeds of people who hate us. So, but I would like to see an orderly fashion where we don't just say, oh, y'all come up with a plan. If you don't have a plan, we get a commission. That's where I see it now. If it's not any stronger than this, I don't see it getting through the House. So I would only beseech the chairman to consider whether or not we could actually have hearings. And I'd welcome a comment if you'd like to make a comment with that regard.
Thanks very much for your question, and really for the, I think the good intent that you bring to these issues. First of all, on the issue of sequential referral, I've asked our staffs about this. Senator Coburn said earlier today that he would like to see a sequential referral of the bill to our committee, and my staff advises me today that in order for us to do that, we have to ask unanimous consent. The parliamentarians made the decision that the bill be referred to another committee. We have to ask for unanimous consent in order for it to be referred to us sequentially. We're going to explore that. We'll explore that with the Democratic and Republican leadership. As you know, yesterday, we tried to get unanimous consent just to go to conference and to take the House passed budget resolution, the Senate passed budget resolution, go to conference and try to figure out a compromise that get our deficit heading in the right direction. Couldn't get that done. One person was able to object and to kill that. So it's we need to find for sure what the situation is there. On the second issue, there are. Let me just say, with respect to the tragedy that occurred in Boston. As much as we mourn the death of 3 people and the mayhem that's touched the lives of 250 other people who have been injured, a lot of good was done by the FBI, by the CIA, by Homeland Security, by the local, state and local police. We've asked a bunch of questions. Senator Coburn and I asked page after page after page of questions of the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security that relate specifically to that. We're going to get those responses. We're going to get them in a timely way. And when we do, at an appropriate time, working together, we'll figure out when to hold hearings with your input and others. In some cases, it may be classified hearings, in other cases, unclassified hearings. But the idea there is to, as I said earlier, figure out what we can do to help, whether it's the situation on the northern border, the southern border, situations like in Kentucky, Boston. What can we do to make more effective, to better leverage the assets, human and other assets that we have? But I like your spirit, and we want to work with you and with our other colleagues to figure out how we can play the constructive role that I know we all want to play. We're going to have a vote here at noon, and I talked with Dr. Coburn, and I think we're going to play. I'm going to stay here and keep things rolling. If we start the vote, he's going to go vote, come back, and then I'll vote and return. We want to have, if anyone wants to ask a second round of questions, we'll have that opportunity, and I would invite you to do that.